Hi, today I'm going to speak about traveling and about stereotypes. Did you ever ask yourself if you really photograph what happens in a place when you travel, or if it's more the stereotypes that you have in your head? So I have this idea for this subject because I just came back from a festival where a photographer showed his photos from a trip to Cuba. He actually went twice in order to make his project. And in his project, he focused on the contrary of the stereotypes of Cuba. So he did not want to show these same old colors and old cars and cigars and all these stereotypes, people's portraits, these old men and all this. He really wanted to show the Cuba that is today. I think it's key when you're traveling that you don't try to photograph what everybody expects to see in Cuba, for example, but to try to really focus on what you really see, what really happens there, not what you think you should see and not what you think the viewer of your photos should see. So usually before traveling, I have a certain idea of the place where I'm going to, and I have these stereotypes in my head about how people are, how people behave. And I think the thing is to try to get rid of preconception and try to make meaningful photos of what really happens there today and not what might have been the place even 50 years ago with photos that we know of these places, but that are just not realistic anymore today. I sure try to know a bit about the place I'm going to before I go. So I have a certain idea in my head, but the challenge is not to project my ideas on the people and on what I see, but to take the time to listen and to observe and to try to communicate with the people and maybe ask questions. The best thing is if you speak the language, so you can ask and dialogue with the people and then show some real empathy and really be open to what they say and not just put my idea over them, on top of them. So you need quite some love and passion for the place you're going to, and you have to get into really immediate contact with the people and with what you see and what you observe. And maybe it's even necessary that you return several times to the same place so that you can get a better idea of what is really going on and not just of what you read beforehand or the travel reports that you have in your head and that you kind of put on the people that you encounter. The key might be to be open-minded as much as you can. Try to be humble and show a lot of empathy. Empathy, and be respectful. Obviously, I mean, when we travel, we always try to be respectful and try not to be too invasive, but yeah, just show empathy. And this way the people will also open their doors and let you into their houses, but also into their life, into their thoughts, into what life means to them and how life works for them. And I think in this context, black and white photography is not bad. I mean, I'm really a color person. I love color photography, especially in tropical countries where everything is so full of colors. But in some cases, black and white can be of advantage just because it makes you focus on what really is, and you're not blinded by the colors and the beautiful things that distract from the meaningful stuff that is behind. When I travel, I'm interested in the reality. I mean, I will never know the reality, and it's hard to find it, especially if I'm not a reporter, I'm just a traveler. But I try to focus on everyday life, or maybe even on social issues that I get familiar with by talking to the people. So I obviously I have a vision of the reality that I see. It's not something really objective. It's my subjective view when I travel. But stereotypes go beyond. So I try to have my own perspective, but I try to avoid stereotypes. And that's a difference. That's something that you have to reflect a bit about in your head before you go taking photographs. I think it's really a fine line between allowing my own point of view and imposing a stereotype on what I think I see. So this is the real subject for work in my head before I start a photographic project. I try to find my point of view and to observe and communicate, and I'm trying to be open to things with the people that I meet and that the people show me and tell me. And this can work if I go as I said before, I try to be humble, I try to be full of empathy and just listen to what the people say and tell me, instead of just having my own preformed ideas that are the basis of my photography. So to sum it up, I think, yes, make yourself aware what is your perspective and your point of view, but also what is a stereotype. And once you figure out this tiny little difference, then it's good to start the project and go and speak to people and try to understand what they have as their reality.